How crazy though. Like, what in the heck? This is NBA. This is like particular to a sportscaster's life or a newscaster's life. I mean, it is just cutthroat. This guy literally won a championship a year and a half ago.
Yeah, the NBA and the NHL both seem like they just pulled the trigger on coaches. I mean, it sounded like there was internal issues, but they also cut loose the GM as well. So there's a lot of issues. But I mean, yeah, 2 years out of winning a championship and you do this. Now there was word on the street that if they wouldn't have won it 2 years ago, he'd have been fired then. So there's probably been some friction. But grow up, dude. It's professional sports.
I know. Well, that's the thing. I wonder if like there's chirp from inside, whether it's Giannis. Like, obviously, you're a global like phenomenon, right? And I wonder if he's got some input into that, or if it's just other players, because he did kind of call out some players the other day and how they weren't watching film, they weren't doing the dirty work, they didn't want to actually get into the nitty gritty. And the guy's old school. And that's why, damn it, that's why they won. I know the Giannis is like incredible or whatever, but like, why do you think the USA beat France in the Olympics? Because it wasn't because of yeah, Steve Kerr's pretty nitty gritty, right? But
Mhm.
it wasn't because of that. It was because Steph Curry has that dog in him. So it's like if some of these players in the NBA, especially these young guys, don't have that dog in them, Gen Z, man, they're just soft. They're soft, bro. And so it's kind of gnarly to just see this happen right in front of our eyes when his boy just scored 61, 62 the other day,
I know.
Joker. It's
I
like,
mean, the whole it's like a microcosm. Sports is a microcosm of society right now. You're seeing softness in every aspect of life, not just sports, but you see it in sports as well because
yeah,
people don't want to take any type of constructive criticism. Which I got news for you: no matter what you do, you're going to have constructive criticism in any
right,
profession, and you're always going to have a boss somewhere, and that's just
right.
life. Obviously, there's a level there where you can only take so much, and then if it's not right, you got to move on. But I mean, these guys, they're professional athletes. They make a lot of money. Obviously, they
Right.
have coaches for a reason. Let the guy coach. I mean, he's got a championship 2 years ago, so obviously he's doing something right. You know?
Yeah, but that goes along. You're exactly right. There's I think that's something that I had to learn like early on in my like actual like corporate lifestyle when I moved out of television. It was like big deal. You get noticed at the gas station. Like, right? Like, yeah, sweet, Travis. Like, yeah, you get noticed at the gas station. That's great. But there's a lot of ego that goes into television, coaching, being
Oh
on
yeah.
camera all the time, being a professional athlete, especially. Um, and I don't know if like and also you've seen Jeff like the kids these days, they're like talking about where they're going to high school. They're like, well, I decided to go to St. Thomas More, or I decided to go to North Crowley. And it's like, dude, really? You're pronouncing the fact that you're going to another high school? That's how big the egos have gotten because of social media
Mhm.
and because of like everything that surrounds them, right? Am I wrong? Yeah, I see
No, it's
you.
true. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just a different world now. So your approach and how you approach people and how you talk to them is different. I mean, you can talk to any coaches now, like high school coaches, and a lot of them are going to look at you and go, "Hey, man, these kids now are not like they were 15, 20 years ago." I mean, you just look at
Yeah.
football and how coaches used to grab a hold of kids
Yeah.
during practice to get. Now you can't even say anything to a kid or look at them, or they're going to go home and tell mommy and daddy, and then mommy and daddy's going to call the
Uh,
coach and
uh,
complain. It's
I know.
like, gee, dude.
Yeah, dude. I think that's why Coach Patterson had a difficult time, like, getting into this generation, right? Like, I feel like because he used to grab my face mask, spit in my face,
Wow.
rip my face mask down, tell me how sorry I was. He used to tell some of the best athletes that we had, like, I'll send you right back home to your mama type
Wow.
stuff.
Yeah.
And like if you do that now, they'll be like, okay, whatever, I'm out.
Well,
And
now you know
they'll
what they're
just go
going to
to
do.
Louisville, or they'll go to
Well,
Lafayette,
they're
or
just going to transfer now because they
they'll
can
go
go
to
to 8
UT or
schools in
whatever.
4 years. I mean, it's ridiculous and no repercussions. I mean, it's just, I mean, I don't know if you saw the kid TJ Finley, who originally he was from Ponchatoula, he went to LSU, played at Western Kentucky, he played at Arkansas State, and then he was at Tulane, and he got in trouble recently with something. But he's been like 5 schools. He was at Auburn. I'm like, dude, you jumped that many schools in a 4 or 5 year period. People are going to be like, this guy can't stick with anything. You know,
I
it's
know
just not good.
it's interesting because then there's someone like Haley Van Leith who,
Yeah.
I mean, she went to what, Louisville, and took
Mm-hmm.
them to two Elite Eights. Then she went to LSU, took them to an Elite Eight, and then she went to TCU. I'm like,
Yeah.
how did you even do five Elite Eights, by the way? I don't even know how that's possible.
I think at LSU, they basically told her that she just wasn't going to play much, you know, and so she wanted to play because she knew she could play. And then she transferred to TCU and obviously had a great year this year.
Speaking of
So,
her,
yeah,
she is over 18. I think she's 21 or 22 now, so
yeah.
it's okay.
So,
She's on the cover of
all that. Sports Illustrated,
Sports
yeah.
Illustrated.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she's going to, you know, she'll get a
She's got
chance
a
to
great
play.
story though. I mean,
Yeah, she does. And I mean, I respect her because she's gone through a lot, but she's hung in there. And this year she had a great year. But she said her and the TCU coach really clicked. So
okay.
let's be honest. I mean, you got to find, it's just like in the workforce, you got to find somebody that believes in you, that respects you, likes what you do. And then once you have that, usually people will work for you. But if they don't feel like they're being respected, then people aren't going to work for you. It's just with anything or play for you, you know?
So interesting, man. Dang.
So,
Well,
but I
but
mean,
like,
pro sports, Andy, the NFL's like that too. I mean, it's all retread coaches for the most part. You have
yeah.
new guys come in, like the Saints just hired Kellen Moore, first time head coach. You get some new ones, but it's a lot of retreads. You
The
know?
Cowboys get what, not Shanahan, but
Oh, uh, uh,
not
Schottenheimer.
They get Schottenheimer.
Yeah,
But Schottenheimer's OG Cowboy, and that there was,
right.
see, like a lot of people don't understand that is like Jerry went way back with Schottenheimer from way back in the day, from um when he was with Jimmy and stuff like that. So like there is a connection there, and I don't think people understand that, but
Yeah. Well,
uh
his dad was a really good coach, Marty Schottenheimer, coached the Chiefs, coached the Chargers. I mean, so
he was the legit offensive
yeah,
coordinator for Troy
yeah, and the
Aikman
Browns,
and the
by the way.
Tribbles.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
he won all the
head coach
Super
there too.
Bowls.
So he comes from a coaching tree. There's no doubt. He's just never had a chance to be the guy, and now he'll get his chance. But I mean, let's be honest. I know you're a Dallas Cowboys fan. It's funny because no, there's nothing wrong with that.
Sadly enough,
You grew up in
yeah.
Dallas. You I would expect you to be a Cowboys fan. I feel sorry for Cowboy fans because Jerry has taken them hostage. I mean, and, you know, it's funny. Today I had Kevin Falk on a radio show I was doing, and he told me he grew up here in Karen Crow in the Lafayette area as a Cowboys fan, not a Saints fan, a Cowboys fan. And I asked him about that. I said, you know, what's the deal with Jerry, man? I mean, he holds the fans hostage. I feel for you guys. And he looks at me funny and he's joking. I was like, what's it going to be like when his son takes over? I said, the Cowboys aren't going to win another title until Jerry croaks, you know, and then we'll see what his son does. And he goes, oh, Jeff, that's wrong. I'm like, I'm just being honest with you. I'm not trying to be mean.
Oh, that's funny because but he knows because, but he also knows that, like, you know, when I worked for Irvin, dude, I can remember getting checks in the mail.
Mm-hmm.
Checks in the mail. That's what me and my brother used to say when we were kids. And then I actually got checks in the mail, and I was like, and I would take him to his accountant.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't even know he had these checks. But the thing is, Jeff, is that he had like Jerry hooked up the triplets with loads of land out in
Mm-hmm.
North Dallas.
Oh, okay.
So they didn't even know that they had it, but like that was part of their contract. It wasn't like just like, okay, you're gonna sign for this, but he was also like, oh, I'll give you land in Frisco, Plano, and North
Mm.
Dallas, which back in the day, in the mid '90s, late '90s, was it was just land, and
Right. They
now
hadn't
it's
developed
just
yet. Yeah.
exploding.
That's interesting. Interesting.
So he like hooks them up with other things. So that's the thing that Jerry has is like he's got deep pockets. You
Yeah.
feel me?
Well,
Yeah.
he's a businessman. I totally understand that, and I mean he's still making money whether they win Super Bowls or not. So that's really all he's worried about at this point. I mean, he won 3 Super Bowls in the '90s, obviously
I
with the
know, but
great
now he's only worried about the money.
the money, right?
He's
And
only worried about like the fact that the Cowboys are the most, looked at franchise,
yeah,
the most
they're marketable. Yeah, making
lucrative
money. Yeah,
franchise in the world. I mean,
yeah,
over some of these clubs out in Europe, these soccer clubs,
yeah,
more than the Yankees, more than anything. And that's what Jerry's worried
yeah.
about. And he really hasn't worried about the actual team.
No,
That's the
I
problem.
understand that. And the thing too is, I look at Jerry Jones kind of like in the same light as I looked at Al Davis. Those are the only two
Yeah.
owners I've ever seen in the NFL who get more airtime than the head coach
Yes.
after every game. I mean,
Or during the game, right?
yeah, and during the
When do
game,
you ever see, I guess, Robert Kraft, Al Davis, and Jerry Jones, but when do you ever see somebody zoning in on the owner? Maybe the guy from the Jaguars, maybe.
yeah, the Patriots owner Robert Kraft, but he wasn't doing interviews after every game. It was they would
Oh,
interview him,
that he's
you
not
know,
he's not walking out doing
no,
interviews. No.
because the owner's job is to provide the money and to bring the right people in the right positions in management to
Right.
run the team, and then bring the coach, let them run the team. That's their job. But Jerry and Al Davis, huge egos, and they want to be the center of attention and do the coach, the owner, everything.
They
And
want
that's
everything on top of them,
but
which is
look at both those franchises, Andy. The Raiders and the Cowboys haven't been relevant for years.
like 30 plus years.
That's what I'm
Yes.
saying. So you see
Yeah.
a common denominator there? I do.
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
I mean, they're both storied franchises. I mean, you put the Raider emblem on or you put the Cowboy star, you go anywhere in the world, people know who those teams are, but they
Yeah,
haven't been
right.
competitive,
No.
for
Well,
championships, so
you're making me a little depressed. I'm not gonna lie.
no, I know you're a Cowboys fan, and I feel for Cowboy fans because you got to remember I grew up a Saints fan, so there were
Oh,
many years
crikey.
where
Well, that would have been brutal growing up as a Saints fan, just putting
it
bags
was.
over your heads.
No, it was bad, and then everybody thing was centered around the Saints on Sunday. You're like, you're just praying, man.
Do you
You get
think, I
excited.
mean, like honestly, like looking at just to stay on that Cowboys train, which is not something that I'm stoked about, but like, dude, I don't see them. I see them as like a third, fourth place finisher in the NFC East this year.
I mean, I mean, Philadelphia's good. They're gonna be good again.
The
Real
Washington
good.
team,
Washington's real good. Jaden Daniels is the man. I mean,
Jaden Daniels is insane.
so
He's the future. So that's why
yeah,
I think,
it's gonna be tough.
I think that the pickup of Milton
Mm-hmm.
is huge because Dak, unfortunately, as great of a guy as he is, and I
Yeah,
think you and I both covered him kind of similarly
yeah,
because I was in Memphis and I was covering Mississippi State, and you were down in Louisiana. You were covering Louisiana and LSU and stuff. And I
yeah.
think we even linked up at some point.
Yeah, I mean he's a
Uh,
Louisiana guy too, so I
he's
always
a
pull
well,
for him.
and he's a great guy,
Yeah.
but guy when he stays healthy, he wins 11, 12 games.
Hmm.
When he's not healthy, we're not. Also, he hasn't done anything in the playoffs. So you bring in a guy like Milton, who is just an absolute freak. Guy can throw the ball 90 yards.
Hmm.
He can run the football. And if Dak gets hurt, say if I mean, I'm not pushing this on him, and I wish the best for Dak. He's great. But like if he gets hurt, Milton comes in,
Yeah,
it's game over. Because I swear, dude, that guy he can
but
throw the
there's still a
pill.
lot of unknowns about him. We don't know, what he's going to do. I mean, but he may get his shot. There's no doubt. And then if he gets his shot and he plays well, then
Listen to us. What is it? It's April, and we're already talking
we're really
about
talking about. Well,
football.
you talk NFL. The draft's coming up a little over 2 weeks, but they talk
Yeah,
NFL draft all year long.
the 14th, dude. I think what do the Saints have in that draft pick? Do you
Well,
know?
they have the ninth pick in the first round right
I
now.
think
This
the
is
Cowboys have like we've
the
got like a
12th pick.
top
I think they
five,
have the 12th
12.
pick. Yeah, so right
Gosh.
after them.
Well, I hope that Jerry doesn't like succumb into Dion's like madness and like
I never thought about that, but if the Saint if Shador gets past the Saints at 9 and he's there at 12, wouldn't that be wild?
I don't want Shador though.
I'm not saying they're
I
going to do
honestly
that. I'm
just
just saying it
I
would be
look,
great.
I appreciate him. I think he's
Yeah.
a great player. I just I don't see him as an NFL quarterback. Honestly, I just don't see
We'll
it.
see. This quarterback draft is there's no can't miss prospect this year. There's no at quarterback. I mean, every
Oh
once in a while
yeah,
you're going to get a can't miss guy. This year there isn't a can't miss. I mean, Cam
right.
Ward may go number 1 in Tennessee because they got mayonnaise man and he hasn't worked out. Will Levis. I mean, they need a quarterback, and I'm not. And Cam Ward can play. There's no question, but I don't know how good he's going to be. We don't know how good Shador is going to be. We don't know how good your boy Jackson Dart's going to be. That
But I know,
quarterback.
but you know what I do know? You know who know is going to be
Who's
something?
that?
Travis Hunter, bro.
Oh yeah,
No,
Travis Hunter
nobody
can
can
play.
track a ball like that guy.
He
You
can
know,
play.
did you see him at his pro day? He wore no
Yeah.
gloves and just his hands were sticky. He was
He
like, "Thump,
he can he can
thump,
he's just
thump."
he's
And
just
then
a,
when they would throw that thing like mad deep, he was just like,
he's a
track
he's a
that
ball
ball.
he's a baller. I mean, he's a ball player.
Backpedaler, just boom,
Yeah,
boom,
he's a ball
boom.
player. He's a
He's
ball hawk on
wiry,
defense. Yeah.
wiry.
Yeah. It worries me a little bit because he's so lean, but he'll fill out. They'll get him on a
But
weight program. He'll fill out some. Yeah.
exactly. I mean, he's so young. I think he's
Yeah,
like
but he's
19 or
just
20.
he's a special guy. You can see it. Whoever gets him, I think will probably try to use him on both sides of the ball sparingly. He may not play as many snaps as he did in college because
No.
physically, I don't know if he can, but you'll use him in certain packages on defense. You got to.
You
And
look
then
at a
on
guy,
offense, I mean, he's just he's a ball player. So you got to get him around the ball. And yeah, I think it's going to be fun to see where he goes and what they do with him, because he's so talented, so gifted.
I think a good representation of that is a guy like Cavante Turpin
Mm-hmm.
from TCU, who is the UFL MVP, and then he's been to two straight Pro Bowls as a kick returner. And
Yeah.
like, yeah, you use him every once in a while. You do a little roundabout, maybe you just like chunk it to him and then he can do this and that. But he's your punt returner, he's your kick returner, and at any given second,
Yeah.
and then he can just take it down to the house. You know what I mean? So I think Hunter can be that on offense. I don't know, but also, man, he's good on D. I don't know.
Really good. I mean, he's another one of those rare like shut down cover corners. Like you put him on your best receiver, and he's going
And
to
then
take
just put
takes that half of the field away, like Dion did. He'd take a whole half of the field away. You know.
right, right.
So I mean, I don't want to compare him to Dion
And
because obviously,
people, we look back at it now and we're like, God, Dion was special, man. And it's like, I think we kind of forget about the fact that like Dion was like hitting a double and a home run for the Reds and then like flying over to Atlanta and then just
yeah,
taking a punt back to the house for the Falcons. Like, I think we kind of
unbelievable.
forget about that, and that's kind of the type of player that Travis Hunter can be. I think that's why Dion believes in him so much.
Yeah.
And I think Dion's coached him up in such a way that he's been able to like, embrace that or whatever. So
Yeah, I mean, I think it'll be interesting. I mean, the draft is a crapshoot every year,
it
especially
is.
you don't know. I mean, that's what makes it so fun is to see where guys go and then to see who develops and turns out to be a star, who's the bust. I mean, who's the late round pick, who's the next Brock Purdy, who's the next Tom Brady, who's the next
Right.
guy, LaDainian Tomlinson, who was a second round pick, TCU guy turns out to be a Hall of Fame. I mean, you just never
Right.
know.
He used to do that teacup where he would
Yeah.
just tip
It's
it like
funny because
that.
we're speaking today when I had Kevin on in studio with me for 2 hours. We wanted to talk about the draft. I wanted to talk about who are your top 5 greatest running backs ever. And I wanted to hear what
Mm,
he said since he's a
mm,
former running back and
yeah.
he played against some guys. And so I have my top 5. The producer had his top 5 and Kevin had his top 5. And then we had people calling in wanting to give us their top 5. My top 5 greatest running backs ever. it's hard because there's been so many great ones. Any era, Andy, any era, any time. Who you think, in your opinion, are the 5 greatest running backs of all time, NFL?
Gale Sayers,
You know what? I didn't even think about him. Jeez.
Gale Sayers, Jim Brown, Barry Sanders.
It's a good list. It's a good list.
I have to go with Emmett just because, like, I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
like his
I understand.
accomplishments
Yeah.
and
Tough, man. It's really hard.
it's very hard.
There were so many great names, and I was like, oh, I forgot about him. You just mentioned Gale Sayers. I'm like, oh my God, Gale Sayers. I mean,
Gale Sayers was
oh,
incredible, dude.
it was
He used to leap over people, dude. If
oh,
you've
he was
ever watched,
so
like,
I've seen highlights of him. The guy before he had his knee injury, he was just phenomenal. I had 5. I had Jim Brown also on that list. I think you look at what he did during his time. I had Bo Jackson. Of course, I'm a Bo fanatic. That Bo had a short career, but just God-given ability. I mean, Bo has to be there. And then I had Barry Sanders
you
too.
love Bo. You love Bo.
I love Bo. I wore my Bo Raiders retro today in studio with Kevin. I'm such a homer, but I love Bo.
Boy. Yeah.
You know? And then I had Barry Sanders, and I had Walter Payton, Juice, Sweetness, and then I had Eric Dickerson. You being a Texas guy,
I would have to put Eric Dickerson up there too because Eric Dickerson, not only he was a missile.
Oh, he was just. I mean, he's got the.
But he also had the long legs.
He ran high. But, I had another buddy of mine call in and say,
hey, he wore the goggles, baby.
Oh, and the Jerry curl. He was so smooth, man. Talk about I don't know if there's been a smoother runner than Eric Dickerson. That guy was just, he was just like, it was like he's walking on a cloud, And Gale Sayers was very smooth, too. All these guys had different styles. I loved Earl Campbell, too. Earl was just power. I mean, just.
What did your boy? What did Paul have to say?
Kevin had Walter Payton. He had Barry Sanders. He had LaDainian Tomlinson.
Dang, did he? Yeah, because I mean, LaDainian threw more touchdowns also than any other running back ever. So he was the first Wildcat. If you
that's true.
Can remember, like in the '90s and the early 2000s, nobody had called it the Wildcat. LaDainian Tomlinson made the Wildcat.
He did.
Him and Drew Brees at the Chargers, and he was taking he was like, chink, chink. Yeah, that's Schottenheimer. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So Kevin had Barry Sanders, he had LaDainian Tomlinson, he had who else did he have? He had Sweetness, Walter Payton, and then he had this was the one that came out of left field, and he ended up playing with this guy at the end of his career. Fred Taylor.
Wow.
And the reason he caught me on that one, he said Fred Taylor because, all those years in Jacksonville, Fred Taylor was the bell cow. They had a few good teams. They made it to the AFC Championship with Brunell, and they lost. And then he carried that team. Then Kevin played with them in New England. He didn't realize how versatile and smart he was. But Kevin, when he came out of high school at Carencro, it was either Florida or LSU. He ended up going to LSU. But Fred Taylor was at Florida. He got to know Fred when he went on his visit and went to some practices. So that was a good one. I never thought about it.
Fred Taylor's great. I mean, Fred Taylor's underrated. Right?
Yeah, very underrated. And because he never won a Super Bowl, people forget about it. This is another name that came up. One of the callers brought up, and I don't know how I forgot.
Well, you got to put I think you got to put Derrick Henry in there too somewhere. But
Adrian Peterson, you can put Adrian Peterson there. And Tony Dorsett, being a Cowboy, Tony Dorsett was a bad boy. Now
he's the first guy to run for a 99-yard touchdown.
Yes, Tony Dorsett was the real deal.
And he did it on Monday Night Football.
Yeah, in college at Pitt, won a national title with Dan Marino over there, and he also was a stud with the Cat. Tony Dorsett could ball now. So I mean, there's so many great names. Marshall Faulk, that's who he had also, top 5.
Oh, did he? Did he have Marshall in there?
It's his second cousin too. Now
Marshall
Faulk, I feel like Marshall Faulk is the most complete running back ever. And I didn't have him in my top 5. And Kevin's like, how can he be the most complete running back? You don't have him in your top 5. He joked with me, but it's true. So, I mean, Marshall Faulk, you gotta,
let me tell you a little snippet about Marshall before I let you go.
Another Louisiana guy.
Bro, Marshall was cool as fuck. Dude,
like so
when I was working for Michael Irvin and I was out in LA and stuff, and I was working at NFL Network and helping Michael get around or whatever, Marshall was the coolest, most down to earth dude ever. he was so rad, bro. He was always like in my hip pocket, like, hey man, like, are you doing okay? Like, is everything all right? He's like, if
Yeah.
you ever need anything, here's my number. Like, give me a call. He was so fucking cool because, he knew he'd be like checking in on me. He'd be like, you all right? You all right, kid? Because he knew that Michael was
Tough on you.
a
Yeah.
madman.
Yeah.
And he was always checking in on me and stuff. And I'll never forget that. He even like would hang out outside and he had like this badass Range Rover and he'd like wait for me outside and be like, you good, man? Like, is everything all right? Do you need
Yeah.
anything? I mean, I'll never forget that. So for that fucking reason, that's my number five,
Oh
baby.
yeah. Well,
Marshall Falk.
I think you
Also, catching those swing passes, the
he could
greatest
do it
show,
all. He could
show
do it
on
all.
turf. Dude, come on. Catching those swing
That's what I'm
passes
saying.
from Warner. Yeah.
It's easy to say that he's the most complete running back of all time because there was nothing he couldn't do well. I mean, he picked up blitzes well, great receiver out of the backfield.
Hmm.
He could do it all. I mean, what
Hmm.
what couldn't he do?
Not,
That's what
I
I'm saying.
mean, yeah.
So I think he
And
is
he
probably
put he picked up blocks and stuff. Yeah,
yeah,
he
great,
was
great. He could pick up the blitz well. I mean, he had a
yeah,
he's very smart too. He had a
cerebral. He
yeah,
was yeah, he is and was. Yeah,
so
exactly.
I think it's very difficult to take, okay, who's the five best running backs of any era? But that just gives you some names thrown out there of how many great backs there have been. But we
Seriously.
also talked, Andy, about how the running back position has been devalued over the years. And it really
Yeah.
has. Although this year, Saquon Barkley, look how important he was to the Eagles run. So,
Huge. He was everything. I mean, look at the big runs and the big moments that he had.
mhm,
I mean, beautiful offensive line, no doubt about it.
yeah.
But like, I mean, who has ever seen somebody spin around like that and hop over three guys and then keep going and then trot right down the field and then just burn every DB in his sight?
Yep.
So I mean, then like 5 years from now, all of a sudden we're like Saquon Barkley, sweetness.
No, I mean,
Hell,
I think,
we didn't even mention OJ Simpson. I know
no,
he's a
no, we
murderer,
did. You're right.
but
I mean,
good Lord, that guy was an
yeah, I mean, he was a
animal.
tremendous talent. So, I
Right.
mean, there's been a lot of really good running backs, and it's hard to take five and say that's the five best. But it's
It's
always
so
great
hard.
sports talk fodder
It
because
is.
everybody throws out,
Because everybody's got a little bit of a different
yeah,
take on it.
yeah,
Yeah. Especially coming from somebody like Kevin Falk, who
yeah.
played in the league. And
He
he's like,
played
wait,
against some of
what?
those
How
guys,
did you?
some of those
Yeah.
young
And he's
recruits.
like, yo, Marshall was the
Yeah.
man,
Oh
right?
yeah, Marshall was, and and Ladanian, he played
I
against them.
love that he put him in there. That's
Yeah,
so
and
cool.
I hadn't thought of that, but I thought you're
But
right.
even like, who else was a really good back, which my buddies, I've told you about Clint Renfro
Mhm.
and his grandfather's in the Browns Hall of Fame. His dad is in the Cowboys Hall of Fame. They're just Clint, my buddy, he was
Yeah.
he was an All-American and this and that, all these things. His little boy has it in him too. And he took a handoff the other day, and I was watching it on video that he sent me, and he did like a stutter step, and like
Uh-oh.
I was like, oh my God. And you know who he reminded me of? Le'Veon Bell.
Oh,
Remember how
Le'Veon Bell.
Le'Veon Bell
Yeah.
used to? It was kind of
Yeah.
like Le'Veon Bell kind of had that Emmett Smith
It
thing where
was
he
it
was
was a
like,
it was a delay. He
it was a
delayed. He'd
patience
wait for the
thing.
blockers to set up. Yeah,
He was just like patient,
yeah. He'd
and
take the
then he would
ball, kind of
just
wait. Yeah,
whoop,
and then
and
boom.
then he
Yeah,
would boom and then
yeah,
just bust
yeah,
out. And then he had the strength to get past the second and third level to
yeah.
where he could like knock off a backer, he could knock off a safety, and then he was to the house.
It was
And it's like,
almost like Le'Veon Bell was in slow motion when they'd hand the ball. It
yeah,
was like he would like almost stop. He would almost stop and just
he
wait
would. He would
and
just be
wait for the
patient.
guy to block, and then let me find my hole, then go. I've never seen anything like it.
I
It's
know that was it was like Barry Sanders, but not. Barry Sanders was more choot, 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 choot.
God, Barry
I mean, there's
Sanders.
nothing like Barry Sanders. Let's not
Yeah,
even
no.
compare. But
But
what I'm
Kevin and
saying
I were
is,
talking about how Barry just. I mean, we've never seen a guy run like Barry Sanders. I mean, he did things that
well,
he looked like the Matrix. I
I
mean,
know.
it
And
was like
if you watch that documentary on him,
I haven't seen. I want to watch it. Yeah.
crikey Moses, brother. Like,
He,
I mean,
I
the
mean, I grew
stuff
up
that he
watching him.
did at
Like,
Oklahoma State.
yeah, he played
I
behind
mean,
Thurman Thomas. He was behind Thurman. They had Thurman Thomas and Barry Sanders on the same team at Oklahoma State. I mean,
How did Stillwater get that, huh?
well, I don't know. That was back in the day. I mean, but Thurman Thomas was the guy when
No,
Barry
so
went
you're
there.
saying there's no NIL?
Yeah, there was. Yeah, that was before NIL. But they got paid. I mean, come on, man, come
Oh,
on.
dude. Well, I don't know if I've told you this, and we'll wrap it up here. But dude, um, there were stories about LaDainian Tomlinson, how he used to come back into and his boots. He had like boots because
Uh-huh.
they put some cowboy boots for
Cowboy
him.
boots. Yeah, he's a Texan.
We were at TCU. Yeah, he was from Waco. He had some boots,
Uh-huh.
and apparently somebody would stiff some money in there.
In
So
the
he'd
boots.
have money. And then there was this place called Mama's Pizza, Jeff.
Uh-huh.
We used to go there when I was in high school. It was down the street. And this guy named Farkas. And then apparently they used to come in and they used to have a pie ready for him. And
Mm-hmm.
under the pie, there would just be like a few $1,000s, bro.
Oh, I believe it. I believe it. I believe it.
Well, I mean, if you think about like what was going on just like 5, 10 years earlier at the Pony Express,
Yeah, the Pony Express. I mean, come on, this is Texas, man. There's money everywhere. I mean, it's the oil boom. So
why do you think Texas is getting all that NIL money, bro? Because they've got that oil
well,
money, dude.
there's a lot of money in
And
Texas. It's a big
especially
state.
now in Austin with the tech money too.
Oh
And
yeah,
like these people come from all over the world and also from California and stuff. And
yeah.
now all of a sudden they're big UT fans.
Well, yeah,
It's
they're
like
bandwagon. They're bandwagoners.
they're
I mean,
bandwagoners, but they're just stuffing,
if they got money, and it's
bro.
all about the cheese now. If you ain't got the cheese, you ain't getting the
I
players.
saw a kid turn down 3 mil from Villanova the other day, a
Well, did
basketball
you
player.
see? Did you see on the Texas Longhorns site? Speaking of NIL deals, Arch Manning. You see, I don't know. This looks real. It looks legit. That Alabama offered Arch 11.5 million NIL deal to come to Alabama, and he turned it down.
No, I believe it though.
I
Yeah.
do believe it because Alabama's got money too, and they want to win. But Arch is like, I don't need that.
Damn.
He's got like an $8 million deal at Texas. He doesn't need that.
I think I told you this story, but when I walked out of HEB not long ago, I walked out of the grocery store, HEB here in
Yeah.
Austin. I walk out and I hear something. I was like, I've never heard a car or a boat like that in my
Uh-huh.
life. Sure enough, there was a Maserati SUV. I've never seen anything like it in my life,
Mhm.
Jeff. Matte black, just humming. I was like, damn, who is in that? Here's my little weak ass just rolling my card out.
Uh-huh.
Kid pops out. He's like 6'9", decked out in all UT gear. Obviously a basketball player or maybe
Uh-huh.
a D end or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
And he hops out of that all blacked out, matte black Maserati SUV. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
And then here I go getting
Yeah.
in my Mazda hoopty.
NIL, baby. Yeah, I mean, it's changed the landscape of college sports now. I mean, it's almost like the guys, we know that the star players before the NIL were getting paid under the table. We know that. Putting
Yeah,
money in their pizzas
right.
and their cowboy boots, whatever. But shoe boxes just mysteriously showing up at their doorstep with money in it. I mean, it's amazing. But like now, they've gone from the poor to like the penthouse to the outhouse
Well,
to the penthouse overnight now.
especially also like women's basketball, which
Yeah.
I think is really interesting. Like these women are staying in college because they're making a mil, 2 mil, 3 mil a year
Mhm.
rather than going and getting paid what Caitlin Cart. I mean, I know she gets like Nike deals and stuff, but like her salary is like 75K, 80K.
Yeah. Yeah.
So why would you not stay at the University of Tennessee and get paid $2 million a year as a women's basketball player?
Yeah, they just don't make the money in pro sports for women like they do the men. So anything they can get NIL endorsements, they're going to have to
And
do.
good for them. Good for them. It's
Well,
just
yeah, I
like
mean,
I wish I had played back then.
no, I mean, I think you can't blame anybody for trying to honestly make a dollar and trying to better themselves and supplemental income. I mean, that's why people have side hustles now. Everybody has side hustles because with everything going up and inflation, you're never going to have enough money, really.
Yeah,
And if you
you're
know how to
not.
handle your money, you can make it. But I'm just saying, to have a side hustle for these kids. I mean, yeah, you're in school, you're making really good money, really good money. In some cases, you're going to make more money than you're making in the pros, especially like you said with the girls.
Seriously. Yeah,
So why not? And enjoy the college atmosphere, because once that's over, that's it. And
exactly.
so
Well, brother, I enjoy you just hopping on randomly. I love you to
yeah,
death. You look great, man.
you too,
How's
man.
Trooper? How's Trooper doing? Where's
Gruber's doing
Chip?
good, man. He's just he's enjoying the good life. He's fully recovered from the ACL injury that he had, so he's doing good. So, he's
Yeah, are you guys doing rehab or what?
yeah, we did that for a while, but he's good now. I've tried to get him to go out and get a job to bring in a little extra cheese for the fan. But I mean, he looks at me and he's like, Jeff, he's like, come on, man, this sexy face, I'm not gonna work. I just want to eat and play. And I'm like, come on, dude,
Yeah,
help a
you're
brother
like,
out.
okay, well, fair
Help a
enough.
brother out, man. I got laid off in January. You want to eat? Come on, help me out. You're just sitting around eating.
Yeah,
But he won't go out there and get a job. So I have to, do what I got to do. But I
but
try. I
but
tried.
he's too cute and he's too pretty to
Yeah,
like.
I
I
said, look
mean,
at that face. I mean, we could just. Really, what we
like
probably ought to do, Andy, is just start his own social media site.
for real.
Probably make money off of that with that face.
Absolutely,
You know?
absolutely. All right, Jeffrey, I love you,
Hey,
man.
good seeing you, man. Have
Yes,
fun.
sir. You
Thanks.
too. All
All
right,
right, bye.
peace.